Hey guys, welcome to episode 16. Really amazing stuff has happened with Sony PlayStation. They've unveiled the PS5. So we're going to be talking about the hardware and the amazing lineup of games that we saw at the launch event that was recently streamed by PlayStation's website. So I caught the stream, Z caught the stream, so he's going to be my guest on this episode. And we're going to talk about our love for Sony PlayStation, our thoughts on the new console's hardware, and also the lineup of games. So stay tuned for another great episode of the House of Rep. Alright guys, this is episode 16. This is our reaction to the PlayStation 5 hardware reveal and the games that are going to be coming out this holiday season. It's really exciting stuff. We've been waiting quite a while for the reveal of the actual console. We had the controller that was shown, the Dualsense, and on episode 3, I believe, of the House of Rep, we talked about it and our impressions of the console. So let's see what our predictions were and did we get them right. And I think that most of the stuff that we thought of we pretty much nailed on the head. My guest today is Z, my fellow Rep Knight and brother. Z, say hi to everyone.
Hello everyone, welcome to the House of Rep, and I'm looking forward to talking about this awesome presentation by Sony.
Alright, great. So let's just jump into it, Z. Let's talk about the hardware reveal. So amazing stuff. We knew this great color scheme. I remember telling you when they released the PlayStation VR headset that I thought that this would probably be the color scheme for future hardware going forward. So sometimes what they do is they have like one IP or hardware that they basically bring out to market after another hardware has been around for a while, and they change the color scheme and style. And this basically, like sets the benchmark of what the next iteration of look is gonna be for their lineup. So the whole time those amazing graphical videos were playing, I was feeling that the lines and the style of the console was gonna be like this. So what do you think now? Let's talk about the actual console itself.
The presentation started off quite nicely with a lovely graphic of the PlayStation logos and this kind of feral fluid kind of animation, which I thought was really cool. They really went nicely with the themes of the colors that they're using. So black, white, and blue is their main color schemes going forward as the future of PlayStation. And then they went into a very nice starting trailer of the new Spiderman game, which looked awesome.
Yeah, so we'll talk about Spider-Man in a minute because that's amazing. Looking at the hardware reveal video, the lines, the accenting of the console, we've had a lot of memes and funny videos and reactions from people who are kind of mocking the design. I personally really like the design. I know people say it looks kind of like a router, looks kind of like a fan or a heater or something with its color scheme. But to me, I really like it. I think it again invokes this kind of bone ridge style kind of look, very thin looking. It just looks different to what a traditional tower would look like, in a PC. Again, it feels like a home console, and they've done some very intelligent venting system with the console. The branding, the kind of embossing of the actual kind of plastics or whatever kind of polymers they're using. They've kept basically mini and large USB ports on the front. There are two hardware configurations of the console. So there's one with a 4K Blu-ray. So that's very important because with the PlayStation Pro, we got kind of stiff by not having a 4K deck. It was just a traditional Blu-ray player, which I thought was a massive mistake from them. So now you've got a digital edition for people who have smaller spaces and don't want the clutter of having a massive library. They prefer having a digital library, and that's kind of like the way going forward. So maybe the digital edition might be cheaper and more more popular because of its accessibility, and people might want to go for that. I personally am going to purchase the one with the Blu-ray drive because, I have a huge passion for films, and, me and you, we love to watch movies in 4K and, whatever the newest standard is on our rigs. So, I think going forward, I'm definitely jonesing to get this. I was really on the, like I was really waiting to see, whether or not Xbox would basically, you know, beat Sony this year. But I'm getting the feeling that Xbox are gonna just lose again because as good as the Xbox looks, it just does not compare to it doesn't compare to the PlayStation with its sleekness, you know?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think the PlayStation's aesthetic is much more appealing in the way they've designed it, the console itself.
Yeah.
I mean, at first, obviously, people even criticized going way back to the PlayStation 3 in 2006. They did criticize that design quite a lot, like complaining about the glossy finish of the piano black color design and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then they started to eventually grow on it. So it's more a case of when people eventually do get the console in their own homes and in their hands, they'll start to appreciate the level of details. Because even in the trailer, the hardware reveal trailer, there were little render shots of like the little touches of the tapered edges, the kind of cooling on the black part with the lighting.
Yeah, the accent
lighting
has
a quite
very
nice
nice
design.
Yeah.
Obviously, we couldn't see the back, and then there's like USB and USB ports on the front. So overall, it's a good design.
It's a very slick design.
Looks good. The DualSense controller looks really good still.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
I've seen that before.
Feels wider on the hand when you actually look at it. It feels like it's going to sit in the palm a lot better, so there's going to be better distances between the actual analog sticks, and then the button layout is raised a bit more. The accent lighting is a lot nicer on the touchpad, and then with the haptic triggers, we're going to see a big difference when watching, not watching, sorry, when playing like games like the Ratchet and Clank, Spiderman, where you want to kind of like have, or like the latest shooters where you want to have a deft touch when firing something, when sniping, but then you want to use rapid fire for like a machine gun or something. So I think this, racing games like Gran Turismo, you're really going to see some kind of a difference here. Another great thing about like giving people two options this time round is like kind of following what Microsoft have done with their Xbox by having a digital edition, because for some people they just don't want to drive, and for some people they just want a digital library, and this is very appealing. Um, Looking at the cooling, looking at the kind of color scheme, I think they've nailed it with a lot of things. People used to mock the original kind of toyish look. It looked very plasticky, the original PS1. Even up to the mini, the PS1 mini when it was in its final iteration, it still, a lot of people said it was very plasticky and toyetic looking. Then when the PS2 came out, they said it looked like a radiator. People used to mock it for looking like a radiator. Then, when the Fat Boy came out, what we call
now it's kind of done that thing like PlayStation 2. It's gone back into a tower mode.
Yeah,
so everybody loved having their PlayStation 2 in upright. They used to have it vertically on a desk or upright.
Some people are saying it looks like a 360 a bit, as well. It looked like an old 360, so that's quite funny. Like, so people have been dropping memes about, it being a 360 and stuff.
I just really hope that Sony don't cut corners on the material quality of the console itself.
Yeah. I mean, they're gonna...
that black part, which is the majority of the middle section in the sandwich of material.
Yeah.
I hope that that's not too plasticky feeling.
I'm kind of
like clicky, tappy.
I'm kind of worried. I like the look of it, but because it's very glossy, if I just like run a microfiber cloth through it, I hope I don't give little micro abrasions onto the actual finish, because that happened on the previous PS3. When wiping it down, that super gloss finish in the middle. That side panel that used to snap away so you could access the hard drive on the PS4. That was prone to scratching really easily. When we bought the PS4 Pro, it was a much better design. That kind of ice cream wedge design still looks really great when you put it horizontally. If you put it vertically, the console still looks great, but I prefer to put that console in vertically.
Yeah.
Sorry, horizontally.
It when it's flat, because it has a nice kind of shiny, glossy PlayStation logo on the top, and it looks neat and clean.
Yeah, and this looks really good too. Like, you know, they've got like a laser etched cutout of the PlayStation logo, and this time it's kind of hollow and transparent. And then they've got in the inner area near the venting a Sony
on
logo.
The top corner, like the top left-hand corner.
Yeah, so it's really nice. I mean, I thought that it would look closer to what that fan art rendering was, but it's just different. And they've also got this kind of taco looking camera. They've got this thing called the Pulse HD wireless headset, a media remote, so that you can use it as a kind of like a media hub. The controllers now have
Pulse 3D.
Yeah, then the controllers now have a docking station. So I'm definitely gonna invest in some of this gear because I just like the family, you know, like the whole family of peripherals that this thing has. So right now I'm really, really, really feeling this design. I like it from a design perspective. I like the color scheme. I like how they've moved away from black because black is kind of getting a bit overused, you know. So bringing a bit of color back in. I'm a little bit worried about yellowing and kind of like wearing down of the consoles because the Dreamcast, you know, like a few of the other consoles back in the day, you know, over time the plastic kind of yellows because of like, you know, atmospherical things, you know, that happen to it. Like, so I'm worried about its wear over time, but by that time you'll probably have different iterations of the console, you know. We'll probably be keeping this one for like 3 or 4 years, you know, touch wood, nothing happens to it hardware wise. I hope that we're not going to have like any kind of major hardware issues with these, with their build quality, because obviously they've got to make these, you know, affordable and built at scale, but they've also got to provide power. So, you know, I want to wait and see how great these consoles last. You know, the beating that we're gonna give it. You know, the amount of game time we're gonna put into it, and movie viewing. So I want to see how it can stand up to overheating issues because I will be watching a lot of movies. Like whenever I'm free, I like watch 1 or 2 movies at a time. So, you know, but most of my viewing is now on Amazon, Netflix, and stuff. So I'm using the drive more for legacy movies, you know, like the stuff in our collection. So maybe the wear and tear will be less because of the viewing habits have changed. But you know,
it also depends on what the power consumption is like, and obviously eventually we need to know what the price tag will be for this console.
That's really important.
It's not going to be like classic $299 that we got at E3 like donkeys years ago.
$299. I love that. You know, that's a great video. But you know, I still remember like back in the day when Kaz or I dropped $599 or whatever the hell price was. Everyone was silent, and I was like, "How the hell am I going to afford this, man?" Do you get what I mean? Like, I mean, it was crazy.
They've got to really put it. Even though they're saying that they don't want to put it at a competitive price, they really should.
What are you thinking? It's going to be like $379, $499 maybe? It's probably going to be $499, right?
We get kind of wonky prices because of the difference
sterling,
between the yen and the dollar.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure right now. I mean, the hardware will be all well and good, but really it comes down to all the software. It's all about the games at the end of the day with PlayStation.
Yeah. So sometimes they sell it at a loss, innit? So that they can make a profit with what's it called? It's exciting stuff. I really like it. So hardware is amazing. Now, just give me a rating of what out of 5 shields what you think of the hardware.
I think it's a good 4.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really good. They've done a good job. You know, they've done something really interesting. The presentation itself. Give me a rating about, you know, the videos and graphics. You coming from a graphic background and stuff. Were you very impressed with this stuff? The work that they did on these graphics and this intertitles?
Yes, I love the idents and stuff that they presented in between each game presentation, and I liked how they left the last kind of ident and trailer presentation for the hardware reveal at the end. And a lot of the stuff that was shot with developers and the CEO and all the staff at Sony was really well done as well.
Yeah, it was amazing. It looks like it was shot on the Vegas or something, you know, the Venice camera, sorry.
Really nice quality, talking heads looked good.
It's very well lit, very good cinematography.
The presentation was very nice.
Yeah.
it was a bit long. I thought there was some. Well, we'll talk about it in a minute, but I thought that there were some games in there that didn't need to be kind of shown in this presentation.
Yeah. But Sony are a kind of company that
worth talking about in this presentation.
So this, I was right then. So my prediction, that I said to you in episode 3, was that PlayStation Studios would now be the cover kind of brand. So basically, the different game studios that have a close relationship with PlayStation, they now come under the PlayStation Studios symbol. So they've done a very good job. So Insomniac have come back with a new Spider-Man game, which now follows Miles Morales, and that's fantastic because we love Miles as a character. He's a great new Spider-Man, and him coming into these kind of like I wouldn't say mainstream universes, but basically the game universe now has a Miles Morales. Into the Spider-Verse has a Miles Morales from an alternate reality, similar to the Ultimate Universe where Peter dies, and then in the Ultimate Comics, Peter dies in the Ultimate Comics, and then Miles takes over. But then the Prime reality, Peter comes to visit him and kind of guide him and stuff, and then I think Miles ends up in their universe. So there's a lot of different things that happen in the comics. This game, now this is where things are getting very confusing because I'm getting confusing kind of information from this game from different publications and sources. Number one, they're saying that this is actually a complete remaster of Spider-Man, the PS4 game. So you can play that, and then you have the Miles Morales expansion. So basically, it's part of it. So you buy basically this version, and it's basically like an expansion. So it's included within it, which is so the Miles Morales part just sits underneath it, which is why they've written it like that. Other people are saying that this is a complete standalone using the same engine, which is then optimized as a PlayStation exclusive for PlayStation 5, or it's a cross promotion. So it's not just gonna be, sorry, it's cross platform, not cross promotion. So basically, what's gonna happen is that this is gonna come out on PS4, and this is also gonna come out on PS5, or it's just gonna come out on PS5. This is where things get really confusing. So it's looking like it's gonna be kind of like a launch style, but it's gonna be like Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. So you know how there's a spin-off, like Left Behind and Lost Legacy that Naughty Dog did? This is kind of what they're doing, so it's going to be a standalone Spider-Man game. So it'll probably have...
Aren't they going to branch it out? So it still has enough missions to last like a game's length.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that what they've done is they've just kind of cloned the structure of the original game. They've improved the engine, added more ray tracing, probably made the city a lot bigger and denser, and then basically doing what they're doing before. So they've enhanced what originally was working, and I don't have a problem with that. That's fine. I mean, the Spider-Man game, I'm playing it right now. I haven't finished it yet, but it's still a brilliant game. I love it. It's like it's really just as good as like the old Spider-Man games. I used to love swinging at Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 by Activision was an amazing game on the PS2. And then these other Spider-Man games, I tried a few of them, like Friend and Foe, Web of Shadows. Could never really get into them. Edge of Time. Some of the storylines sounded wicked. Like I thought that one was cool, where he would like team up with Spider-Man 2099. But this is a really good one. I'm excited about this game. It looks brilliant. Insomniac are one of my favorite companies, so to see them still, churning out great content, this goes to show again that basically the Sony are building up their library, and this is what I love. So they concentrate actually on like the library of games, and then hardware is kind of like a companion concern, whereas Microsoft like to throw numbers to people and saying, we've got 16 teraflops of power, we have the latest graphics card, we've got the this is the fastest console, this is the fastest Xbox in the world, it can outrun, it does the same speed as a Koenigsegg in processing power, as an engine motor or something, like they'll basically throw all this wicked stuff, like, all the kind of pedantic showmanship. But when it comes down to it, like, what am I playing? Like, what am I playing on it? Like that kind of Lucky's Tale or something. You get what I mean? Lucky's Tale is a very basic game.
Nobody wants to play like crappy Minecraft on such a powerful console when it's not even using half of the power.
Yeah, you're not a big fan of Minecraft, are you? There's a lot of people out there who love it.
People can like Minecraft all they want, but it's still not a very good game.
You don't find it appealing. Well, it's never been your thing, innit? You're more into kind of like action shooters, driving simulators and stuff, innit? That's really your expertise, innit? And I'm mostly into like action games, stuff with great stories, sandbox games, shooters, fighting. Like fighting games is a big deal for me and you. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. It was so funny because that's like our thing, and then that's not even the first thing I thought of, So, like the R.E.P Knights, we're not really like we've kind of like we've never really been much like we used to play PES a lot. We used to play FIFA a little bit, but we were never hardcore FIFA guys or sports dudes. We don't play NFL or Madden and all these kind of games much. We're mostly into our fighting games like Tekken, DOA, Street Fighter. We've been playing Street Fighter for years, from Street Fighter 2 to Hyper Street Fighter to Street Fighter 5. Champion Edition. We're playing all of these bad boys. DOA, we've been there since the beginning of DOA. I remember when you were sick for a bit and we were in the hospital, and you were recovering, when you had your leg surgery and we were playing DOA 1, on the PlayStation. And then that was like really when we first got to experience Jan Lee and Zach and all the guys, and that all that funny jiggly boob kind of physics and funny stuff, with that game. But at the end of it, it's a great fast game.
One on the PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
Now it's like Dead or Alive 6 on the PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
And maybe 5. We might get a remaster on the 5.
It would be amazing to get like a slight upgrade of DOA 6 because they did a few of those. They did like ultimate editions and like different kinds of editions. So maybe the PS5 might get an Xbox X might get an upgrade of it.
Yeah, maybe,
yeah, with like better textures and stuff. DOA 6 is brilliant. I'm going to do a separate podcast with you about how good that game is, how good 5 was. Guest characters on 5 were amazing because we had the virtual fighter characters coming back. That was fun to see them in it, and we got to see, I think, I forgot that girl's name from Final Fight. She was in it. Maya, I think her name was. So she's a guest character too. It's a shame that Terry and Andy Bogart weren't in the game, so I'm hoping that they're guest characters in this iteration. So maybe DOA 6 can have some more guest characters, because so far they've only unlocked like we've got Nico, the new character. We've got this other girl. Can't remember her name. It's been a while since I played it. Anyway, so let's move on to the next game. So, Spider-Man Miles Morales. It's we're gonna give this a kind of a thumbs up for its presentation, the quality of the game. We're looking forward to reviewing this on THOR. So, I'll move on to the next game. So, they announced basically Grand Theft Auto 5 again. So, basically, instead of making Grand Theft Auto 6, while they're probably still working on it, they're basically gonna release another iteration of Grand Theft Auto 5. And I know it sounds kind of like it's in a bit long tooth and nail, but what they're trying to do basically is bring new people to Grand Theft Auto Online and Grand Theft Auto 5, because online's getting support for a long time. So you've got heists, you've got these weird kind of Tron-like races, you've got DeLoreans, you've got all this kind of weird kind of like stuff in the game that you can do now online and build up money. So people love that. People just love building money and becoming like the kings of their own crime world. The game has always been brilliant. It's like it was a really fun game. I loved it a lot.
I mean, it seems a bit weird to have another Grand Theft Auto from a previous gen on the new console.
Yeah.
But those kind of stuff always really happen, regardless.
Yeah.
But
it's more like a remaster,
really
isn't it?
Invest in, because
Yeah.
you can play a lot of the stuff that you're already seeing in that game on Grand Theft Auto Online. So
this is the thing I'm kind of
to have something like that on PS5, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is what I'm thinking. It's like technically it's a remaster, so they're probably gonna bring everything that worked on the PC, so they can bring a lot of the PC's refinements over to the actual PS5. But you can't mod it like you can on the PC. So there's a lot that you can do to kind of improve the textures and stuff. So they're trying to probably bring it in line with that, and bring it so that it just works on, so they have a better online presence. So we're just gonna move on. It's just good stuff from Rockstar as always, but it's nothing new from them. So that was for me just a tiny bit disappointing from them, because I was kind of hoping that we would get a Grand Theft Auto 6 or something.
Yeah, I know. I got excited when I saw it. I was like, what the fuck?
I know, yeah. So moving on, Project Athia. So Square Enix are making a new game,
Yeah.
So they're producing it. Luminous, I think they're called Luminous Productions. They're the actual studio behind this. So they're making a game that's going to be basically a test bed for showing the ray tracing, showing the Unreal Engine, or whatever engine they're using. They're basically going to show off the power of what the PS5 can do. So it's really good. And so this is like a platformer, right? It's going to be like you know, uh, going around some kind of crazy world. The design looks really amazing, for this place. You've got these kind of weird looking demon dogs kind of things. You've got these vast expanses where she can jump. She's got this kind of nature ability, so it looks like the nature and the geometry changes, and she's kind of like in control of it. So I don't know if she's maybe like Mother Earth or a kind of Gaia-like character or something, and this kind of deals with that. There seems to be some kind of like ethereal kind of fire dragon, which either is a creature that you can control, or it's like an antagonist or a boss that you have to fight. And it's just a working title, so they haven't even announced it. It could even end up becoming something else. It could be like some kind of other game. So Project Athia is just a kind of working title. So not much is known about that game, but visually it looked impressive.
Yeah, it looked really good. It looked really nice, and some of the atmosphere was amazing. I love that shot where she was like on the cliff top and she could see the clouds and the sun kind of beaming down. It was a really nice vista shot of the game's abilities, so it looked amazing.
Great, yeah. So let's move on to the next game. Ratchet Clank's a great franchise. It's very fun. It's like Jax and Daxter. Both companies, Insomniac and Naughty Dog, they made these great characters. They're very similar, but Ratchet and Clank's a really good fun game on its own. And they did I think if I remember correctly, they did a complete remake of Ratchet and Clank for the PS4. I haven't had a chance to play that yet. And then this one looks incredible because he's bouncing through these different dimensions in real time, and the world is so lush.
That was really cool. I thought that was a nice touch, how they're going through all these different worlds.
Yeah.
And the PlayStation isn't hesitating when it's like loading all these different worlds thanks to the SSD drive.
Yeah, it's brilliant because what's happening is basically this world can change, the environments can change in real time, the art direction, the style, the cartoony style of this game, visually it looks really impressive. It's very fast. I just love it. I think it's going to be a good game. This is definitely a game I'm going to buy. I love adventure games like this. They're just really fun and colorful. Ratchet and Clank are a good pair. They're a great team. So yeah, just a good franchise. It gets a good thumbs up from me. I'm gonna wait and see until the game comes out to give it a good full review. What I think about it. But so far so good. It's really good. It looks really nice. You got dragons. You got flying.
It's nice to see a continuation of the kind of old PlayStation IPs that are pushing forward into the next gen.
Yeah. And also on top of that, they're not really giving them numbers anymore. So they're trying to say that, this is just an original tale. So a lot of games and a lot of franchises, because there's so many of them, they're just dropping the numbers and dropping the things, So yeah, it's really cool. All right, so Ratchet and Clank, good work from the guys. And we're hoping to see the rest of this. Also, there's an introduction of a new character. So when Clank gets separated, he runs into a new lady. So there's a new kind of like female, maybe a female love interest for Ratchet. This lady, or maybe instead of like Ratchet, this lady was born or something. I don't really know much about the storyline, but it looks promising. They're using the hardware really well, so it looks really good. Just looking at my list. Stray. So Stray was this really like visually appealing game about like Annapurna Interactive and Blue 12 are making this game, and it looks like it's an indie game. It's probably a platformer about this stray cat, and basically the humans look like they've probably been wiped out, and what's left now are like lifelike robots that imitate them in almost every way, but they're mechanical. So they do basically what humans do, and they kind of live on the streets and they do this and stuff. But it's a very interesting world. It's very visually nice. You know, the colors are nice. The neons light are nice. It's cyberpunky, but not too much. You know, it's just really kind of interesting. And I'm just wondering what this kind of game is. Is it just a sort of like a RPG with like a little bit of a story, or I mean, are we looking just at FMV, or are you going to be walking around in a third person way, interacting and listening to these people's stories, and the cat is just basically recording it? So it's just an interesting looking game. It looks good. I want to see what the gameplay mechanics of this game are going to be like, and whether or not it's actually gonna like realize itself fully conceptually and be a fun game to play. So I don't really know what exactly is going on with this game, but it looks interesting. So Stray looks very interesting. Let's move on to the next one. What do you think of Stray? Tell me, sorry.
Yeah. I liked Stray. Yeah, I thought it was a nice. The trailer was nice. How it led into a kind of dystopic future where the only population were robotic machines, and there wasn't many humans in sight, and all you saw was the cat going about its route and daily life. Trying not to interact with the robots, really. The cat was trying to be smart and is kind of looking for someone to interact with. Oh, okay, this is kind of interesting. It's like a bit different, where you're going to play, like you said, you're going to play the cat, and you'll be exploring this world full of robots and seeing what will happen.
I think it might just be like one of those kind of casual, kind of chill games. You just kind of sit and just explore. It doesn't really have any kind of challenges or anything really. Like maybe there's a photography element to it or something. All right, let's move on to another serious game. What's it called? Returnal? Yeah, Returnal. So Returnal is this crazy space game. It's kind of like it kind of feels like a movie, you know, like this woman stuck in a loop.
Very cinematic and very story driven.
Yeah, so we've got a House Marquee are making this game. It looks like it's about an astronaut that crashes onto a planet, and what happens is that the planet's got this strange ability to try and basically resurrect the astronaut woman, and she's basically stuck in a loop, and each time she dies, she's kind of like experiences a death, but she can't die. So she's basically on it's sort of like ethereal. The loop just keeps happening, I guess. She just kind of dies, fights, dies, and what happens is the planet changes, and also the planet starts infiltrating her memories. So her memories start eroding and changing too. So it's going to be very interesting to see what this game is like. Is this game going to be one of those kind of like morbid games with like there's a never-ending kind of like it's never going to stop, or is there going to be some kind of liberation at the end, or some kind of a like a secret or something? But the game looked really cool. It looked like a cross between Aliens, a little bit of Mass Effect
it looked really nice.
in there, a little bit of Days Gone.
Really nice.
Kind of also reminded me a bit like Silent Hill and and Prey, these games that came out recently.
Yeah.
So it's trying to do that kind of stuff. So yeah, good stuff. Visually it looks entertaining. It's got some interesting creature designs. Whether or not the gameplay itself is good, like she's got good enough stuff, or it's just a standard stack shooter, like a run and gun, we'll have to wait and see. Because if the gameplay is just limited to a run and gun, and the story is very hollow and it just looks visually impressive in this trailer, but actually when you're trying to play the game, it's impossible to do stuff and the gameplay is terrible. That just will ruin all the cinematic quality to the game. So yeah, let's just see what Returnal is like. It's not a bad concept, so it's a good game. Let's have a see if it can be a great game.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so this game really kind of like got me kind of like excited because it looks like a wicked arena game, kind of like an esport thing. So Lucid have created this game. You've got these crazy kind of avatars, I guess you can create or you can be. I don't know if it's going to have a create a player kind of mechanic, but you've got these teams that fight each other in this massive arena, right? So what they do is they.
At first, I thought it was like Rocket League or it was like a Fortnite expansion.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of got those kind of feelings.
Yeah,
but it was
I think it's designed that way. It's trying to be like I forgot what the name of that other EA game is that's really big nowadays. So that you've got Fortnite, and then you've got its competitor, which is that EA game.
Battle Underground, Player Unknown.
No, Players Unknown Battle Underground is kind of was there, but it's not really. There's another one, Apex. It's called Apex, I think.
Apex Legends.
Yeah, so Apex Legends, I think these are all kind of like games that are designed to be fast multiplayers with this kind of esports kind of feel, and this game has that kind of esports feel. So it's a cross between, you've got dynamic jumping, you've got wall running, kind of like Titanfall and Call of Duty. You've got amazing destruction effects and all these kind of cars, which are really good. So you got this kind of Hot Wheels style, massive arenas, the explosion effects, the cars, what they do. It's kind of like Vigilante 8 a bit, as well. So it gives me those memories of Vigilante 8, Rocket League. You've got basically cars that can go sideways. They've got blades on them. They've got weapons. You can slice and dice, destroy stuff. But then when you are basically out of your car, you could do stuff to try and take out other cars and survive in a kind of like a platform way. So they've shown us the mechanics of the game. They've shown us in-game stuff of it running, sort of like a kind of like a rolling tech demo of in-game graphics. It's not really a FMV. I want to see how this game plays with the haptic feedback and the DualSense controller. How fluid and how like. So I can't wait to get this game in my hands and see if this is going to be one of my go-to online games that I'm always going to play. All right, moving on. So this is really interesting because I didn't expect this. I was quite kind of like, when I first saw the trailer, I saw this tiger, and I thought, what is this tiger? And then it turned out that this was Sackboy, and he's got his own little platformer. So the kind of intro FMV kind of tricked us a bit, and made us look like it was something else. It's going to be some kind of.
Yeah, it's like Sackboy has become the kind of PlayStation Mario Sonic now.
Yeah, I mean, he is like one of the PlayStation mascots. So, Sackboy's always been a fun character. Little Big Planet was a great game, it was very fun. So now he's got his own little kind of world that he can play in, which is made out of this kind of cushions and fluff, and has that whole Sackboy art direction.
So it looks like a fun kid game.
Yeah, it just looks really good.
To the other cool tiles.
Yeah, so this one is something that I'd probably just cash play. If I ever got a chance. We'll wait and see how actually good the mechanics are. If the jumps are not too short, if it's not too kind of, like they don't have those frustrating repetitive things where you get stuck in an area, and because of the game design you can't complete it, or the bosses are like grinds and stuff. So we'll wait and see how good this game is. But it's interesting to see them do another kind of like Little Big Planet game, but move away from the whole Little Big Planet kind of thing and just spin off Sackboy himself. So that's really interesting. All right, moving on to the next game. Oh, Oddworld. So I've never been a huge fan of the Oddworld franchise. I know it's really big and a lot of people love it, but I've always thought of like, he just looks like a really freaky character, and the storyline was just never appealing to me. I know this guy, whatever he's called, Oddworld, or this dude, yeah, I forgot the dude's name. He's trying to free Abe. He's trying to basically like free his race from the enslavement of these other aliens or something like that, or something. Visually it looked very good, and the guy's carrying on the franchise well, but essentially it's like a Lemmings game. It's like a survival game.
It's kind of funky like that. It's kind of a resurrection of the Lemmings structure of gaming.
It's a survival game, basically, isn't it? Survival platformer.
And stuff like that.
I don't really like it. I'm not really too interested in it, to be very honest. I think visually the game looks great. The art direction is very good, but I never found the characters appealing, or something that I want to invest my time in. So there's always going to be people who are going to be huge fans of it, and they're going to love it. But sadly, I just don't connect with it. It just doesn't click with me on any kind of level. So we'll just move on. It just looks really good and promising for people who love that franchise. So it's another returning fan favorite. This game. I really like this game. This game looked really good. It was like this kid has got these little creatures that work with her. She's got some sort of spiritual kind of energy where she can do these light bows, and she's got this light staff. Ken Watanabe looks like he's doing
a strong female-driven story.
Yeah, I mean, just generally, it just looks like a fun kind of action platform. It reminds you of Beyond Two Souls, games like that. Heavenly Sword. It just feels kind of like those kind of games, like a fun platformer with a villain. It's great, it's colorful. It's cartoony, but it doesn't have to be super realistic. So it feels like a great kind of animation movie. The world looks very lush. It looks like a fun platformer, of discovery with these little kind of creatures. And I don't know, something about it seems appealable. Like that you can do kind of building with these creatures, and it just looks fun. So I'm just interested in trying this game out. I like it. It's just very appealing to me.
Nice. I mean, it has this very animated look, so it looks a bit like an animated movie.
Yeah.
But you can play it, so it looks very nice. The worlds look lush.
Yeah.
The graphics look really good. The
It's a bit like Legend of Zelda,
isn't
it? And also, she looks a bit like she kind of got the kind of same abilities as Kung Jin. When I think about it, she's got kind of like a staff that becomes a kind of like an energy bow. So it's really interesting, and it seems like a good game. It looks very fun. I want to see how Kenna Bridge of Spirits performs in action. So let's see how good this game is as a launch title.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
To be honest, it was like I was seeing good. This is not the order that obviously we saw the games in. We're just abridging the order to how we're reviewing it here on House of Rep. But when this game kind of came in the order of games that were being shown at the presentation, I just didn't feel interested in it. It didn't feel appealing in terms of a game that could showcase what PlayStation 5 was about. So I think it looks like an okay game, but we'll pass on it.
So this is possibly like a kind of JRPG or some kind of a motion comic kind of thing.
Kind of like an emo storytelling game. That's about it, really.
Coming of age kind of game. It doesn't really kind of relate to us, I guess, anymore.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. So
maybe might appeal to a younger generation, but I don't know.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how good this game is. But I'm not really sort of like it didn't really connect with me, if you kind of get what I mean, in such a way. So basically, you're hunting kind of like digital ghosts and stuff. Visually, it looks really appealing. It looks very entertaining. It's I don't know how good this game is gonna be depth-wise, because it feels kind of like it might be like Fear and all these other kind of games. So basically, you're just kind of building up. It's basically clean up. So you're going through these visually spectacle stages, taking out these kind of different cadre of villains like headless ghosts, and they're all digitally imprisoned ghosts or something. I'm not sure what you're doing exactly, whether you're a mage or a psychic or some kind of a hunter, but you're basically trying to save Tokyo from these creatures. So I want to know what the grander storyline is.
It's interesting that this was a game that was in first person perspective.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of cool. It's kind of different.
Yeah, I wonder how it's going to work, because you've basically got these abilities with magic to do kind of spells and, stuff to push people away. You can steal, like what looks like the remnants of their energy. You've got what looks like some kind of bike play, whether or not you're actually controlling a bike or it's just a cutscene. What these bosses are like, what fighting them is going to be like, how this gameplay works. It looks like maybe both triggers work different things, and you have to use maybe the trackpad or something to take these things out. Yeah. I'm not sure how good this game will be, but visually it looks good. Let's see how good it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I love games about Japan and Tokyo. So if this kind of profiles and lets you run around Tokyo all the time, I'm all up for it.
You know that classic kind of yeah, exactly. You love that, innit? The Yakuza franchise, you love it. So basically, when you look at the kind of the tile design, give me your feedback on that. It's very nice, isn't it? It has that kind of
that
video effect,
retro look, and it's got lovely colors and stuff. And it has an element of spooky, supernatural element.
What do they call that? They call that kind of Videodrome kind of strobe effect that happens when you're tuning into something. So that's got that Ghostwire. So that was really cool.
Bit like Watch Dogs, remember?
Yeah, because they talked about the space game, but I think it's a real-time strategy game. So I'm just going to touch on it briefly. It was just a game about humanity kind of going into the oblivion, like they're going to be like wiped out, so they go off into space. So it looks like it's a kind of like a civilization kind of game where you explore planets and build colonies and look after this kind of spacefaring arc of humans. So visually it looked very nice. Art direction looked really interesting. Gameplay wise, it didn't show so much. They just showed like a ship traveling through a vast expanse. I don't know how this game is going to work, whether it's just a casual kind of exploratory kind of game, or it's a kind of like a real-time strategy game.
It looked a bit Mass Effect-y, but with a bit more of an animated art direction.
Yeah, but it Xbox are working on this game. Visually, this game looks really good.
Wasn't it?
Yeah. So I didn't really know much about Godfall. I didn't, like go into it before the reveal, and then I just noticed it's like a hack and slash kind of game. So is it a hack and slash arena kind of game where people are kind of fighting
each other? It's a campaign-based hack and
slash. So it's kind of like Dark
um,
Souls and stuff, like God of War and things.
A bit like more For Honor style.
Right. Okay. So it's going to be like that, but then there's going to be maybe an online element to it. I don't know. We'll have to see.
So yeah, it feels like that because the way you build up your knight character and your god powers.
Are these guys all supposed to be like demigods and gods, and then they're killing each other to kind of build their armor up and stuff in this world? Yeah. Have you noticed that, like,
cool.
Some of the stuff I picked up from the game, though, is that the animation is very jarry and kind of jittery. And I don't know if that's because this is unfinished, like, renderings or engines of the game, but everything's very kind of, like, clicky. Like, the guy will do shifts and slashes, but then he'll stop midway. It doesn't feel very fluid. Visually, the game looks amazing, but the animation looks a bit iffy. So I don't know whether or not this game will be really good. We'll have to wait and see, but the art direction is amazing.
Yeah, no, it looked cool.
Yeah, promising game. So let's see how good it is when you actually play it. How fluid it is. They give EA and all these other kind of sport guys this massive podium to just waffle on about how they've made the players look that much more realistic and stuff. Yeah, so basically they're always going to get like a guy, and the guy's going to say, this is the next generation of sports and, entertainment or something, like, and things. And yeah, and for the last, like, gazillion years, they've been showing this kind of stuff, and this thing is going to happen forever. But this guy looks super realistic in that one close-up where he was sweating and stuff. So 2K are doing a really good job. They've always been like a competitor to FIFA and EA. And now that they've kind of taken over the wrestling franchises, they've got their own NBA 2K franchise. That goes up against, the older NBA Live. Like, NBA's kind of like gone towards 2K now. So a lot of people play NBA 2K. They don't really play EA's NBA Live and stuff anymore. So the EA franchise has kind of gone into the background with that. So what 2K tend to concentrate on is their NBA games. I think they're football games, because I can't remember their football games if they do a Madden or something, or an NHL game. But they also do the wrestling games. So the SmackDown versus Raw, SmackDown games have all shifted over to 2K. They bought THQ's assets.
How floppy WWE 2K.
I've just really been kind of put off by them since they kind of took over, because what it is it's kind of like Yuks are still pumping out the same engine, and then all they do is just up the polygon count a bit. And sometimes they take away features that were better in previous versions. So people have been putting up comparison videos of like the latest version of it and how much of a train wreck it is, and how much they've taken the backstage detail out. And I'm like, you are rendering limited stages with limited kind of interactions. Why don't you just make it better looking? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, you should keep pushing it. Anyway, we'll move on. Let's move on to one of your household favorites, Gran Turismo. So they unveiled Gran Turismo 7. So give me your thoughts of this. You been loving this stuff. Talk to me about this game.
Yeah, so this was Gran Turismo 7 was announced, and it was actually the second game, I think, in the lineup when they showed it on the live stream.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really excited because Kaz popped up on screen, and I was like, oh shit, here he is. He's going to talk about another new Gran Turismo, and thankfully it wasn't Gran Turismo Sport, which is a big relief.
Yeah.
Because Gran Turismo Sport has had its own kind of controversy, just like WWE 2K20, with its always online mode.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really like that. So hopefully this new Gran Turismo, from what I saw from the trailer, it looked pretty sweet. It showed off the Mazda RX Vision concept, and there were some lovely shots of nostalgic Porsche race cars and stuff like that. And it was all running really smooth at 60k. 4K at 60 frames per second. So that game looked really good. Some of the stuff that was really nostalgic is that they brought back Trial Mountain, which is a classic Gran
That's what I
Turismo
thought it was. I wanted
mod.
to talk to you about that. It was Trial Mountain, wasn't it? It was a legacy course,
It's
right?
Trial Mountain, but it's being kind of remodeled for Gran Turismo and to kind of update for this new version of the game.
And it looks like that you can like just basically travel the world with again like the world mode. You know, the career mode is very good. What do you think of the
I like
interiors?
how they've reintroduced the campaign mode again.
Okay, yeah.
And that's really cool. And it seems like they've introduced tuning again, and obviously GT Sport will now play a different element as part of the bigger game. So you can still do GT Sport FIA-based competitions. You can watch competitions on your PlayStation account or your Gran Turismo account and participate and stuff like that. So that's really nice. I think it's hopefully it will be a well-encapsulated game.
Yeah.
My only criticism with the trailer is that some of the car sounds still didn't really sound that great.
Right.
So I hope that they fix up the audio for those kind of atmospheric sounds and car sounds.
And add reverse
really
lights,
use
isn't
the
it?
Tempest engine of the PS5.
Yeah. Are we looking at damage or like, you know, minor damage on these on things? Because sometimes they don't do that, don't they?
Since we are getting ray tracing and dynamic weather, I'm sure they'll find a way of incorporating damage because, you know, old school games like Drive Club, which I thought was an amazing looking game for its age, has damage but it has damage and scratches and stuffs. And Gran Turismo doesn't really do that much. It doesn't let you damage the car too far without, you know, damaging the model or making it complicated for the console to figure out what's going on the screen.
Yeah, I think that, you know, there's a couple of little kind of like if you're gonna add all these details about all these switches and all these toggle switches and things like that in the game, I want to be able to use them and I want to be able to when I reverse to have reverse lights. You know, it was quite funny in a few.
Well, it does that now. I mean, that feature's been fixed for quite a while.
That was quite funny though. I can't remember which one it was, but like a lot of the game, the Gran Turismo games had no reverse lights and kind of weird thing. So I hope that the car physics are very good because this is the real driving simulator. So I hope cars feel the way they feel, you know, and stuff. I'm looking forward to having a crack at it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it'll look amazing at 4K in a VR headset, definitely.
Okay, great. So Gran Turismo 7 looks promising. Let's move on to Souls. Demon Souls I've never actually played, but it's supposed to be like a competitor to, you know, the other game. What was that one called? This. What was the old? There was another game as well, like Demon Souls, where you kept dying and stuff. It was like a platformer. I can't remember the name of it. It basically escapes me right now. But they remastered this and kind of essentially made this. I think this is a remaster from what they were saying in the press. It's not a completely new game. When I first saw the eagle kind of carrying the dude, I thought this was a God of War game. You know, do you get what I mean? Because it had that darkness of that kind of darkness and style of God of War. So yeah, it's just really interesting. It looks like an interesting kind of hack and slash game where it's very hard for you to survive. So it's like a uber hard kind of game. It's designed to test you, test your metal, test your survivability and stuff. And with each encounter, you learn more. I'm gonna wait and see how good this game is, how it plays. You know, I've never really played them that much. I've never really been into them, so maybe this one might introduce me into the franchise, and I'll see how good it is.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Visually, really good. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah. So DeathLoop is made by Arcane Studios, who made Dishonored. So basically, it's their same engine, completely different world, I guess. I don't think it's the same world, but there's an assassin who keeps looping.
And this is a first-person game, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's a first-person shooter. It's gonna be like Dishonored. You can teleport. So his like again, just like Dishonored, you can teleport with your left hand. So you can pick different kinds of approaches to kill people. Visually, this game looks really good. It's a mixture between a serious and a cartoon style. You know, it's got this kind of shooting element to it. It's got these really weird looking kind of guns and style to it. The main guy is basically getting killed all the time by this other lady who's kind of better than him at at fighting the two assassins. So I think you can play as both of them. So you can play as either the lady or the guy, and you just have to basically work your way through the world until one of you wins, and you can break the cycle. There's really not much else to talk about because the storyline's really basic. Visually, it looks fine, and you just keep restarting the loop. So I'll just have to wait and see.
It just looks like a fun shoot 'em up hack and slash kind of game.
Yeah, so
it's like John Wick stuck on a loop.
Kind of, yeah. So we'll just wait and see how good this game is. It looks really good. I like the art direction, so it looks promising. Definitely. All right, moving on. We've got. I'm gonna do a separate, detailed little, sort of like I would say a series of why I love IO Interactive series. So I've been playing Hitman since Agent 47 on the PC. Silent Assassin. Contracts was interesting because it remade the first two games in a different kind of way after Agent 47 gets shot. I liked 4, Blood Money, a lot. Originally, when I played 4, I thought 47 died, and I didn't realize that you could actually restart his heart. So the first time I played the game, I actually played the game, and then he died, and then I didn't do anything, and I thought he didn't die. then I read somewhere that he survived, and I was like, he's not dead. And then I played it again, and then I actually have the I played it quite hardcore, and I got Silent Assassin ranking on that game. I played it on the 360 and the PC.
They're such great games.
Yeah, and the new ones, these rebooted ones, people were like kind of scratching their heads. They're like, "Why did you reboot it?" And I was like, "They rebooted it because they just wanted to put it back to like as much as I liked Absolution. Absolution lost the kind of free play, take out the guys any way you like. This was it was too linear. It was too insular.
Like a story as opposed to doing contracts.
Yeah. And he had like proper Heihachi looking eyebrows in that one as well. Like he looks so different.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah, so anyway, I'm so loving this new one. This is the final of the 3 of this Contracts trilogy. They call it the Contracts trilogy or something. Or the World Assassin trilogy. They've got like a name for it now. But I'm loving it. It looks really good. I'm very happy with Hitman, the direction it's going in. I haven't played the second one yet. I'm still in the midst of clocking the first one. I just take my time with it, but it's really good. So the new one's got Dubai in it. So you're going to be basically going to the Burj and taking someone out in the Burj Al Khalifa.
Yeah, that looks
so
awesome.
That's going to be sick.
Footage that they showed looked really cool.
Yeah.
How big they've made the world and how much you can explore and do assassinations.
So it's like,
I thought that was lovely.
In number 3, it looks like you can do a lot of travel. Like the sandbox is very big. So you've got a lot of... You're probably going to have main target and then kind of sub-targets too in this game.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really, really, really cool. Really cool. So I like it a lot.
I think the thing I like about Hitman is that he was the John Wick before John Wick came out.
Very true. And the thing that I've really hated is that I've never been able to do my Hitman film. So, this is something that I want to do one day because they've never done Hitman right. The Timothy Olyphant one was crap. The second one was crap. They were terrible films. They get 0 shields from me. I don't even have to do separate reviews of them. They're just terrible. They were just really shit. And what I would like to do is if I can...
Bring on Hitman 3.
Yeah, exactly. Bring on Hitman 3. And if I can get a chance, I'm going to try and do a Traditions of the Trade short film or something. So it's just about taking out those 2 guys and taking that bioweapon. In the hotel. And if I can do that, and he comes under the guise of being Tobias Reaper and, all that kind of stuff. If I just make a short film of that, hopefully they'll let me do a Hitman film. You never know. So that's really good. That looks promising. So...
Last but not least.
Yeah, I mean, well, not last but not least, there's a few others, but I can, skip through those because there's a lot of games that they showed. But let's focus on Horizon.
Let's just talk about Horizon and leave it there. The other games are just minor, very minor.
Yeah. So, basically, Horizon is such a beautiful original IP. The guys have done a great job. If you compare Horizon to Last of Us, and this kind of controversy that's happening with Last of Us and the direction they've gone in, For Horizon basically gives us hope, and it's a lush world, and there's kind of like a light at the end of the tunnel, and there's a sense of adventure. You get this kind of Avatar-style feeling, you get this kind of like adventure-style feeling, this Mass Effect feeling. We learned that...
I was so happy to see Aloy again, and her continuing her adventures from the previous PlayStation 4 game. So it's really awesome to see a new Horizon on the new next generation console.
Yeah, so it's going to be a really beautiful game. It looks very lush. Looks like life has kind of returned to the world. And also on top of that, you've got basically still the problem with the robots and the things, and Aloy still hunting and doing a thing. We haven't completed the first game, so we don't know why she's gone onto this adventure to this new land. So we'll have to wait and see. It looks like there's some kind of an organic plague or techno-organic plague that's infecting the world. We'll have to wait and see what's going on, but it just looks brilliant. Art direction looks amazing. This looks like a masterpiece game that's going to get a very high rating from me when it comes out. Really great. It's just an amazing protagonist. Aloy's great. The culture is great. The world's amazing. The style's good. The hunting, the scavenging, the kind of taking over the machines. Now there's this amazing underwater bit, so she can swim now. Underwater and do stuff. So you got to watch out for those kind of crocodile creatures, and there's sunken cities that you can explore and stuff. She's got a new rebreather. It's really good. It's going to be an amazing game, a really amazing game. Just looks visually amazing.
I'm really looking forward to that.
And if this is a launch title, I'm definitely buying this with my the PS5.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. So great stuff on that. So let me just go through the final ones. I'll just kind of talk about them. There was Astro Playroom, which looks like it's just going to be like a tack-on title that they're going to probably give with the console, so you can have a little play around with stuff. There was another game called Bug Snack, which is really funny and silly looking, where you stuff and making weird creatures. So that's showing that. So it looked fun. It was like a little hunting game about this cartoony looking dude where he's hunting these creatures. And I like that. That game looked really good. It had this like silly guy who's like in one world, he's like the sleeping. He looked like an Alfred kind of guy, and this other guy's going on adventures. And I like the humor of that game.
Yeah.
And the art direction was amazing. That looks really good. There was Resident Evil Village. I'm not really a huge Resident Evil fan, but this one looked really good visually. It just seems like a continuation of Resident Evil in an interesting way. And this rebooted franchise is very interesting. So there's a new.
Capcom are doing really nice cinematics and kind of gameplay renders of their work.
Yeah, it's very dark, it's very dank, it's very gothic, it's very dark, but I'm not really into dark games right now. I think there's way too much negativity on the earth, and this kind of torture porn, kind of super dark games, they're just getting kind of boring for me. I like kind of games that are a little bit more upbeat and fun. I like it when heroes win, and I don't like it when villains completely die and stuff, and things like that.
The other Capcom game, Pragmata, was really good. That looked really cool, but it looked a bit like a kind of Metal Gear by Capcom.
Yeah, very much so. Like, looking at Pragmata, it seemed kind of like Death Stranding. It felt kind of like, I don't know what it is. It's like humans have abandoned Earth or they've disappeared, and this guy's got this robot, and he himself probably is like slightly advanced. I don't really know what's going on.
Almost.
I'm not really sure what's going on in this game, but visually it looks pretty nice. Like, it looks really good. I wonder how it will be as an actual game. Will it be too boring? Will it be again that kind of morbidity about, oh, humans self-annihilated themselves and there's only these robots left and stuff? So, yeah, like, what can we do? Yeah.
No, but I think it's still like the thing with gaming and stuff is still very optimistic, and a lot of the games are really enjoyable. They make you feel good at the end of the day. So a lot of the titles are really good.
Yeah, I mean, I love it with, like we love to play games that just have, this amazing funness to them, action, so it all feels like it's some kind of a weird world. Like, it's not even Earth. It could just be a giant simulation, like some kind of robotic simulation with cyborgs or something. Could just be a giant playpen for them. I don't know, but visually it looks stunning. This game looks very good. We'll wait to see what kind of gameplay this is and how it's going to be as a game. So we'll see.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to all these titles, and I think they'll be fantastic on the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, so just rating this entire launch kind of thing, I would give it a solid 4. We've got some really promising stuff, really promising things going on, and it's going to be a really good year for gaming. It's going to come out holiday season. It's going to be a really interesting year of gaming for us in 2021 onwards. So very promising stuff from PlayStation and Sony. Very happy with the direction they're taking stuff. They're not basically straying away from what they're good at, and they're adding to that. So that's really good to see. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, bro. And hopefully the price will be attractive, and we can hopefully get our hands on one console because it's gonna sell like hotcakes.
Yeah, definitely, bro. So let's wait and see what will happen. Anyway, so I'm gonna wrap this up because like there's these kids outside making a whole bunch of noise. It's like because it's in lockdown and I need the windows open so that I can get some air. And yeah, just I want to thank everyone for listening into this podcast. This is episode 16. Our reaction to the PS5 hardware reveal and game lineup for 2020 and 2021. And I want to thank you, Z, for joining me as a guest. And I'll see you guys on the next episode of the House of Rep. See you later.